Hey everybody, hey Justin, if we can get the conference monitor going. Welcome back to the show, everybody. My name's Ezra Levant. I'm the Rebel Commander here at rebelnews.com. What a pleasure to be with you in this disastrous week. Disastrous for the Republic. As I've said before, conservatives lose. In Canada, conservatives lose a lot. In America, conservatives lose half the time and growing. Part of being conservative is to accept the rules of the game in advance and to accept that those rules may mean you lose. And if you will lose, it's a conservative value, the rule of law, the rule of the rules, that you take your loss. That you don't flip the board game over and say, that's not fair. If you agreed to the rules in advance, it was fair. So that's why conservatives didn't say, we're going to pack the court to stop Obama from jamming in Sotomayor and Kagan, his two ultra-left-wing justice picks for the Supreme Court, because that's how the rules work. He was president. He got to pick a couple of hard left-wing judges. It's not great, but that's the rules of the game. And in return, when Trump is president, he gets to put judges on the Supreme Court too. You notice the difference. Republicans either opposed the judges or actually supported them. Lindsey Graham, for example, the Justice Committee senator, big shot for the Republicans, he actually voted for Obama's picks in the end. I guess he thought they were quality people, even if they were leftists. He recognized that when you win the presidency, you get to make those picks. You didn't see conservatives or Republicans saying, we're going to do everything we can to smear these people to stop them. And if we don't stop them, we're going to pack the court. When Trump became president, the Republicans didn't pack the court to undo Kagan and Sotomayor. They just said, okay, we'll just wait, and maybe we'll replace 1, 2, or 3, and it wound up being 3. You see the difference? You accept the loss. But Democrats only play by the rules if they win, and then if they don't win, they pout. That's fine, pouting's fine. But for example, when they lost to Trump in 2016, they spent the next 4 years undermining him with the deep state, undermining him with false allegations of collusion with Russia. How ironic that there was 100,000 times more proof of Hunter Biden and, in fact, Joe Biden colluding with China. Documentary proof, a laptop of a computer, photos, for God's sakes. That was real proof, corroborated and never denied by the Bidens, by the way. That was ignored, but the figments and wisps and fakeness of the Russia collusion was run with. And same thing with vote rigging, vote meddling, vote hacking. Trump didn't hack, fiddle, or vote or meddle in 2016. People were just sick of Hillary Clinton and sick of the Democrats. This time we see massive vote fraud, and the media says, no, didn't see that, no, nothing to talk about, that's just sour grapes. I remind you that back in the year 2000, Al Gore fought for more than a month before the Supreme Court said, yeah, you lost Florida, buddy, now go make some global warming movie. So the media's haste to declare a victor before, by the way, the states even do so. You know how it works in the United States. Each of the 50 United States has a number of electoral college electors. Small states like Wyoming have 3, big states like California, I think they have 55. So you win a state, you win that state's vote count. Can you call up the tweet by the governor of Texas today, who remarked that Texas, second largest state by population. It's got to be the second largest state geographically too. Alaska's probably bigger. I think Texas is geographically probably as big as California. Can you find, I think I retweeted it, or I bet you could find it pretty quick anyways. He just said Texas is super big, 2 time zones, millions of votes. It was all counted the night of, easy peasy lemon squeezy. What's with this? You know, it's November 6th already. The election day was November 3rd. Why is still counting, especially in the urban centers? Like, you would think that it's harder to count and tabulate votes across a mighty rural plain like Texas or California or Alaska. How hard would that be? But you're in Philadelphia, that's a city. Just count and you're done. Why does it take so long? Well, it's those Tammany Hall politics. It's the corrupt politics that goes back centuries in Democrat cities. I mean, Chicago's how JFK won, robbing the votes from Richard Nixon. So I think my point is, just the way Republicans took their licking in 2008 and took a licking in 2012, I think Republicans would take a licking, maybe it's a retweet by him, but that is the governor there. Republicans would have taken the loss if it was a loss. I mean, no one can pretend Mitt Romney won. I'm sure there were vote fraud in the big cities, but that's not why. That's not why. Romney lost because he was a loser, technically speaking. McCain, the same thing, but Trump won. And we all saw it on election night, North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and then stop the vote, stop the voting, pause, we got to find some ballots, we got to ship in some ballots. Oh, we got to board up the windows so you can't watch the vote counting. Oh, we got to kick out the Trump scrutineers. What? Yeah, here's the tweet. Yeah, thanks very much. Texas swiftly processed more than 11 million votes and quickly announced winners across 2 time zones. To ensure transparency, we allow poll watchers from each party to participate in the voting and tally processes. What is happening in some states undermines trust in elections. You're darn straight it does. And that's what I find so frustrating, is that you can believe in the game even if you lose the game. In fact, it's essential that you do. That's the peaceful transition of power part. Like, it was quite remarkable when George Washington was done that he relinquished power. In fact, there were some who wanted to make him king of America. I'm not an expert in my American history, and feel free to correct me if you know the history better than me, but there were some who said, King Washington. He said, no, 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 you don't understand. We've got ourselves a republic and we have a peaceful transition of power. What a wonderful idea. And it requires the consent of the loser. But if you have 70 million Americans who are watching in real time as the vote is being stolen from them, how can you then expect them to believe in the rules? I said it before, if Biden would have won, they would have announced it immediately. With Trump, they would just delay as long as possible, come up, throw everything, come up, and then build the narrative Trump falsely declares. You know, I mean, there's a New York Times tweet that they deleted that they said the result is known when the media announces it. No, I checked the Constitution, that's not in there. That's a little bit of arrogance, but that's the Democrat media political industrial complex. They're really, you can see, like, go to Trump's Twitter feed and just scroll down and just watch what Twitter has done. Twitter is the source of news for a lot of people. Now, it's not as big as some other media. It's really the news hounds. Just scroll down and let's see how many things are blocked. Block. Either the ones where, you know, let's read one of those. Some or all of the content shared in this tweet is disputed and might be misleading about an election or other civic process. Don't even open it. It's just, yeah, I mean, so it's a speech. It's a speech. They won't even let you see the speech because they have decided that Trump is misleading you. Have they ever done that to a Democrat? Or do Democrats never mislead? Okay, so click back. Like, I'm just trying to show the sheer mass of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you see how many are blocked? And then warnings and blocks. You know, it used to be, look at that. 50% of what the president is saying is just literally being blocked or outright called a lie. By whom? We don't even know. Is it some intern in the San Francisco HQ of Twitter? Is it, throw the picture of Rasputin up. Jack Dorsey, he's gone full crazy monk. You know, Rasputin, the mad monk in the final days of the Russian Empire, I suppose. Jack Dorsey, what the actual hell is that? And he, I mean, you want to throw up a little bit of Boney M's Rah Rah Rasputin. Or just give me a name, just give me a picture of the actual Rasputin. Everyone knows Rah Rah Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. It's a great song. It is a great song. Very catchy, sort of 70s-ish in the same way that YMCA is. Throw up a picture of the actual Rasputin. Now, he had smoky eyes. But that's Jack Dorsey's look these days. So is Twitter Rasputin the guy who is literally censoring the president? We don't even know. There used to be that politicians censored journalists. Now media companies are censoring politicians. And what are you going to do about it? Well, I suppose that could have been asked to Trump over the last 4 years. What did you do about it? Were you ever going to do anything about these companies? Did you not see them coming for you? Did you think they would stop when they kicked off Alex Jones? They kept narrowing it. The New York Times, the New York Post, just a few weeks ago, when their entire Twitter account was suspended because they were truthfully reporting the news on Hunter Biden. Did you think they were done? Do you think they were done? The media is outrageous. Hey, I want to talk about Super Chats. I think you know what that is for regular viewers. It's a way that, for now, YouTube lets us monetize these live streams as you chip in a few dollars along with your chat. And YouTube gives us 70% of it, and it makes your chat brightly colored. And I do read all the Super Chats, even if I don't do it in real time. I come back to them, and Justin, our producer editor, puts them in a little list for me. I'm going to read some of those right now. Kane Enmark, $10. I was at the STI at Schumer Calgary Clinic today. They wouldn't let me without a mask. There are no walk-ins anyways. Without walk-ins, the ST-HIV will rocket out of control. Okay, that's sexually transmitted infection, I guess you're saying. Can you help? I think I might have retweeted it. I saw a headline, I think it was in the BBC, about infant mortality. Maybe if you just go on Twitter, infant mortality BBC. Because I don't know about sexual infections or whatever and the pandemic. I have no idea. But I'm pretty sure just in the last 24 hours I saw a headline in the CBC that infant mortality, can you believe it? The scourge of humanity that we've only wrestled under control in the last century. Babies dying. Is there anything more tragic and sad and heartbreaking than that? Well, because of the lockdown, and I know we're switching gears here, but I'm just answering your Super Chat. Anyway, let me know if you can find that. I'm pretty sure I retweet. If you just go to Google and type in infant mortality BBC, it might come up. Timothy Powell, £20. Thanks for being you. Well, that's nice of you to say, Timothy. I don't know who else I would ever be, though. And if I wasn't me, who would be me? Viking Insane, $5. You hear about the rumor that Trump had the official ballots watermarked in advance. He knew this was coming. He even predicted the early morning dump. I do not, I might have heard the word watermark. I didn't know that was the rumor. I do not believe it because, of course, the ballots are not, I do not believe, and forgive me if you're an American expert, and if I've got it wrong, and if so, please correct me, but I don't think the federal government does the ballots. I think every state does it in their own way. I think that's the wonder of the American system. 50 states, not one unitary country. Fiona Anna, $10, thanks very much. Bill Howie, $5. CCP, the Communist Party of China, is threatening Australia, Taiwan, and Southeast Asia. Do you think Biden-Harris will let Xi run the map? Yes. Hey, can you go to some of my tweets? I was retweeting Gordon Chang. Can you go to Gordon Chang's feed? We'll find that infant mortality thing later. It's not. I want to stay on the election right now. But Gordon G. Chang, one of our favorite China experts, he follows a lot of the Chinese propaganda directed at the West. Scroll down a little bit. That one there, yeah. So, we want right underneath that. China's regime loves Joe Biden and did everything it could to elect him. Okay, sorry, let's go a little bit lower. A little bit lower. I want to see him quote. Yeah, there we go. Let's read these. So Hu Xijin is the editor of the English language foreign policy propaganda website called Global Times. You can see Gordon is retweeting Hu Xijin, and you can see right underneath it says China state-affiliated media. So Hu Xijin says, various articles introducing Biden's life have become popular on the internet in China. The tragedy of him losing close family members has aroused sympathy among Chinese people. His failed bids for presidency in the past have also helped create an image of a tenacious man. They're very excited, and as Gordon himself says, here's more evidence that China's regime was behind Joe Biden. They just love the guy in Beijing. Click back and then go to the next one down. Chen Weihua, I'm going to quote the Chinese affiliated media first. I believe I won't tweet nearly as much as in the past 2 years, starting January 20th, because I don't have to reply to Trump and Pompeo's daily slander on China. I don't expect Biden and his future Secretary of State, whoever he or she is, to be that type of lowlife. Gordon Chang says below you will find more evidence that Joe Biden was the choice of China's regime. Yeah, we knew that, but you wouldn't know that if you were blocked by Twitter, blocking so much of the news on China and the Bidens. I don't know if you can find it, it was on my Twitter feed, I know I retweeted a ton of stuff, but Iran, I think it was a Breitbart story. Iran said as much themselves. They're excited because Iran has had a tough 4 years. Trump stopped the huge payoff, put sanctions back on, I think they put sanctions back on, but most importantly, Trump reorganized the Muslim world against Iran, made peace between moderate Sunni Arabs and Israel, and boxed in Iran, and was very verbally bellicose towards Iran, and militarily said, you touch a hair on any American's head and you're doomed. So they're thrilled that Joe Biden, who was vice president when Obama sent the pallets of cash to Tehran. I think it might be fastest if you just, there we go. Iran, Western hegemony is over as U.S. no longer controls the world. Scroll down just a little bit. The U.S. government no longer controls what is happening in the world, the Iranian foreign minister said on Thursday, hours after Iranian President Hassan Rouhani predicted the next administration in Washington would surrender to the Islamic Republic and revert to the nuclear deal. See, they're saying these words. Iran is saying you surrendered. Iran is saying you're going back to the pro-China deal. This is not Trump. This is Iran saying, we're back, baby, America surrendered. Referring to Donald Trump as the gentleman in the White House, Rouhani said the president, quote, ruthlessly increased sanctions, so he did increase sanctions, so I thought, on Tehran, essentially declaring economic war while the country battled against the COVID-19 crisis. Scroll down a little bit. They, the U.S., did not adhere to any principles, neither human rights principles nor international law, Rouhani said, as Breitbart News reported. At the same time, I am confident that the Iranian nation will eventually win. It does not matter what the outcome of the U.S. election is tonight or tomorrow and whose power is in anyone's hands. Can you click where it says Breitbart News reported? You see the word reported is in blue there? Yeah. Rouhani, again, warns next U.S. president, prepare to surrender to Iran. Now that sounds insane, that a country, what's Iran, 80 million people, and it's fairly poor, would ask America, a third of a billion people, very rich, to surrender. That sounds crazy, but is that not exactly what Obama and Biden did with Iran when they were in power? They absolutely did surrender. So the world knows, you know, and I see these, you know what, can you go to my tweet that I did yesterday? I saw a story in the Daily Mail. Actually, let's start there. Let me know if you want me to send you the links. So the Daily Mail, which I really enjoy reading, it's a really lively UK paper. They got a great website. Their website is so much fun. So many pictures of celebrities, and they really know how to write a great clickbait headline. I really enjoy the Daily Mail. And the Mail Online is one of the best and funnest websites in the world. It used to be like my number 2 favorite after Drudge Report, but I don't even go to Drudge anymore. So the Daily Mail, what a hoot. So the Daily Mail had a story, maybe you could just do it that way. The OSCE. If you go to Daily Mail and then type in the letters OSCE, I think I got that right. What does the OSCE stand for? It stands for the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. Oh, it's not opening, eh? Maybe they, who knows why. Anyway, so the Daily Mail does a story on this European group of election observers who came to the United States to watch the election. And there's a whole team of them. Yeah. Thank you for finding it. Team of independent, there's so many pop-up ads on this page. That's the one thing about the Mail Online, you're just going to go nuts from all the ads. Team of independent international election observers say they found zero evidence of fraud or voter manipulation as Trump files a slew of lawsuits. International election observers monitoring the U.S. presidential election concluded there was no evidence of fraud, despite Donald Trump's claims. The head of the observer mission of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe said, "We found no violations of the rules whatsoever." The Vienna-based OSCE, of which the United States is a member, conducts independent observer missions at major elections in all of its member countries. So you're reading this, you say, oh, well, they obviously proved Trump's a liar, and they're independent, and they're observers, so no need for... So I thought, is that the case? So I went to the OSCE, and I saw some anti-Trump statement. They actually said the worst threat to the election's integrity was Trump talking about the possibility of a rigged election. Oh, okay. But then I did something. So could you go to my, I think we wrote a story on it. So, yeah, so I went to the OSCE's website, and I wrote a very short, in fact, there's a tweet I did where I have 4 panels, right? So my first letter I just found the name of their spokesman. His name was Nat, or Nathaniel or something. So I wrote an email, media inquiry. I was on the plane yesterday, media inquiry. Yeah. So I write to Nat and I say, hey, I have 2 questions for you. I said, number 1, what cities were you in, or what states were you in? And number 2, are you still observing? So Nat writes back, hi, the OSCE, this is an email to me. The OSCE Parliamentary Assembly's observers were in California, Nevada, Michigan, Virginia, Maryland, Wisconsin, and Missouri, plus the District of Columbia. Okay, that's interesting because Michigan was a contested state, same with Nevada, but not, and Wisconsin, but not California, Maryland, Missouri, or DC. Okay, so they were in a couple of interesting places. And I said, are you still working? And Nat says, most observers have completed their work, but we do have a small team in Philadelphia attempting to observe the vote count. However, we have so far been unsuccessful in obtaining access in Philadelphia. Best Nat. So I tweet this because I think I got myself a little bit of news here. So we just saw this big story in the Daily Mail observers say everything's fine, everything's fine. Well, you weren't in Pennsylvania. You weren't in Georgia. You weren't in Arizona. Why are you in Washington, D.C.? Like, that's a 90% Democrat place. They don't even have an electoral college there. Why are you in Washington, D.C.? Like, why are you even, like, that's not a battleground state. There's never going to be a controversy there. We know in advance it's going to go 90%. It would be like going to Puerto Rico. Yeah, I've been in Puerto Rico. It's a lovely territory, but it does not get to choose president. Why are you there? And the one place where there's the most controversy, they aren't there. They're trying to get in. They can't get in. So I tweet that. I say, whoa, I just got this statement. And you'll notice the subject line was media inquiry. And in my email to them, I said, I'm Ezra Levant, a Canadian journalist. So, and I sent it to his work email account, and he's the spokesman. He writes back to me. Do we have his letter back to me? He writes back to me after I tweet this, and it gets thousands of retweets and likes. He writes back to me and says, I can't believe you published that. You're the spokesman. I introduced myself as a journalist. I called it a media inquiry. I wrote to your official OSCE email address, and I asked about your work. I don't know you. We're not friends. This isn't a personal chat. I said, where were your observers, and are they still observing? You said, here's the states they were in, and most of us are done, and we can't get into Philadelphia. He wanted me to take that down. Well, I tweeted a four-tweet exchange with him. Do you want me to find that for you? So let's take a look. So I tweet that, and if you've got the emails, you can show those. But I thought I tweeted four images in a single tweet. So you see, I said, breaking. The media spokesman for OSCE, the international team of election observers, just told me that the delegation has been denied access. So they write back, they're snooty. They say, please note that one, this is the OSCE PA and not OSCE ODIHR. Okay, you got me. The OSCE PA is not objecting in any way to the lack of access. We were treated courteously by the staff of the convention center and referred to the election commission, but so far have not managed to get authorization. So they're saying, hey guys, when they said we couldn't go in, they were courteous about it. So they politely said, get out of here. So I don't know why they said the above tweet is irresponsible and inaccurate. Go up all the way. I literally, yeah, click that. That is the entire email to me from the OSCE. How is that inaccurate? That is literally every word he wrote. I think it's because he got in trouble for it. Okay, close that up. And then scroll down a little bit. And then I said, how could it be inaccurate? I literally published a screenshot of your full email. And then they say it's inaccurate because it misidentifies the OSCE institution. Well, I was just quoting what he said. And two, because you embellished the statement saying we were denied access. You were. You just said it was courteous. The reality is that we were referred to the Election Commission where our request is pending. That means you were denied access, mate. Oh, what a bunch of Weasley losers. And these people are in charge of fairness. Okay, click back. I think there was more exchange. Did I not have my exchange with him? I did not tweet that? I thought I did. Can we go back to my tweet there for a second? So he said, yeah, this is the four. So this is my very first letter. Do you see that? I just wrote to him out of the blue. Media inquiry. Hi, Nat. I'm a Canadian journalist. Can you please tell me what states or cities your election observers were in? Are they still deployed or have they completed their work? Thanks, Ezra Levant. Couldn't be clearer. And then this one I read. This was his reply. I'm showing you the entire emails. Then he writes back. Can you pump up the size there just a tiny bit? This is his email in full. He says, I don't know if you can't make that anybody, that's fine. He says, let me know if you can make that a little bit bigger and I'll read it. Because this shows what a scam these so-called election observers are. Number one, they weren't in most of the battleground states. Number two, the battleground state, yeah, go ahead, put it back up. So he writes back to me, hi Ezra, regarding this tweet, please note that I am the spokesperson for the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly, not the OSCE ODIHR. Okay, Nat, the reason I emailed you is because you were listed on the website as the contact person, and you answered me. So you should delete the tweet because it incorrectly identifies the OSCE ODIHR, and this is a different OSCE institution. Well, you answered the question, mate. Also, I'm not sure I appreciate my private correspondence being shared with the world like this. If you need to quote me, that's fine, but please don't share a screenshot like that. Thanks, Nat. Why, Nat? Your name was literally on the press release as the official contact. I didn't give any secret personal stories. I literally quoted you telling me a concise answer. These are the states we're in. We can't get into Philly. And then I write back, did I show that one? Hi, Nat. I'll clarify for whom you are a spokesman, but I will not delete the screenshot. I clearly identified myself as a journalist, and the subject line of my email was media inquiry. I wrote to your work email address, not your personal address. Your reply was professional and, I assume, accurate. I don't know why you object to me publishing it, other than perhaps you are receiving political pressure. Are you? Please let me know if either the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly or the OSCE ODIHR makes any statement about being denied access to the Philadelphia vote counts. That seems to be newsworthy, judging by the reaction to my tweet. Now, did he go back another time? Because I went back and forth with him a few times. Is there another letter there? Because he writes back and it's just off. That's all I tweeted. Because he writes back and he says, thank you for agreeing to delete the tweet. I said, don't gaslight me, bro. Why would I delete the tweet other than you're part of the smear against Trump? So my point is, I saw this big story in the Mail Online, which didn't ring true to me. I said, how could they call these shenanigans fair? I emailed the official contact. He said, yeah, we weren't even there, and they're not letting us into Philly. I don't even quote him. I just screenshot exactement what he says. And they say, oh, please take that down, take that down, take that down, take that down. Nah, mate, I'm not taking it down. You're just part of the steal, aren't you? I see some more super chats coming in. Let me catch up on those a bit. Looks like a lot of super chats. Pyotr Olszewski, $10. We the people will never surrender. Loyal fan from Florida. Well, thanks very much. And by the way, congratulations on Miami-Dade. Can you give me the short Latinos for Trump? I want to tell you, I played the extended live version for my kids. And once you listen to like 5 minutes, oh my God, I will vote for Donald Trump. I mean, you can't get it out. And you know, they're just sort of, you know, you don't want to dance too fast because it's hot down there. It's really hot. But you just want to move a little bit. You got a little bit of that movement. And who could not vote for Trump? Take a look at this.
Ay, 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 por Dios, yo voy a votar por Donald Trump. La buena vida, por Trump. La economía, por Trump. Hazlo por tu familia, latinos por Donald Trump. Ay, 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 por Dios, yo voy a votar por Donald Trump.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
I'm in. I am so sold. And you know what? What a pleasure. The greatest pleasure for me on Tuesday night was seeing Miami-Dade move 200,000 votes towards Trump. And that is Latinos por Trump. I have watched that ad 6 times. And the extended live version of that song 3 times. And I'm not done yet. Sylvain Menard, $10. Great job, Ezra and team. Not sure how the U.S. can recover from this obvious fraud in plain sight. Well, that's the thing. I was saying to my colleague David Menzies today, I would have preferred had Joe Biden had indeed a blue wave. Because then a loss is a loss and you swallow it and you say, oh, maybe America isn't what we thought it was. We lost according to the rules. Back to the drawing board. I would rather that, because then you can still believe in the system. But to see it stolen from you you can't have a sense of closure. You know what, I didn't like it when McCain lost to Obama, but I could recognize that he won fair and square. And you know, maybe it could have been something positive. I don't think it was. I think in fact it was a squandered term. I think he could have really healed America's racial wounds. In fact, he put salt in them and he used them for identity politics. I think he had extreme foreign policies that made the world more dangerous, cost thousands of American lives and hundreds of thousands of foreign lives. There's a lot to criticize about Obama. But you can't criticize that he won in 2008 and that he won in 2012. I mean, of course there was fraud in places like Philly, but that's not what tipped it. It's what tipped it here, and that's why it's so hard to accept. M. Hobbs 22, $5. They did watermark the real ballots. Go on BitChute. Dr. Steve P. Shenick. We watermarked every ballot with a QFS blockchain encryption code. I haven't looked into this, but call me extremely skeptical. I don't know who we is. Jew we, $7. Are you aware of the powers Biden has to mandate masks? Does he need Senate approval, or could it be executive? That's a great question. I do not believe that he has the power to mandate masks. He may have some powers over federal projects, federal works. He may try and say if you take federal funding, you must wear a mask. So he would have the power of the purse, as it's sometimes called. But in the United States of America, where powers default to the state level, I do not believe he has the power. It's the same reason why Donald Trump could not command the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, to stop sending sick people into seniors' homes to kill many more. Trump does not run the 50 states. So Biden could try by saying, if you don't wear a mask, hey Harvard, if you don't wear a mask, well, forget Harvard. Hey, state school number 22, if you don't force your staff and students to wear a mask, you're not getting the $1 million grant this year. Hey, federal contractors, if you don't require your staff to wear masks, you can't bid on these projects. That's how he could do it. But I don't think he could just make an order. Rebecca Bull, $5. So excited to get my Defiance mask. I hope soon. Work has no exceptions. Hey, can you show that again? Go to unmask.ca. Unmask.ca. There are some places you got to wear a mask. I don't like it. But we got masks for sale called unmask.ca. Can you scroll down just a little bit? Masks are useless, they say. If you got to wear a mask, at least protest. Carol Card, £10. The great American public cannot simply be disenfranchised like this. Thank you, Ezra. Well, we'll see what they do. I mean, you're obviously a Brit. I'm a Canadian. It's up to Americans now, isn't it? CP, $5. Time Magazine's recent cover stories about the Great Reset. You claim the leaked memo was fake, which refers to this issue globally. Comment? It's not a leaked memo. It was a forgery, a hoax, a hypothesis, a scenario. It referred to a number of things that were true or truthy. I can write a fan fiction alternative news account too. In fact, maybe that's what should happen. A dystopian novel set in the near future that feels like nonfiction, but it's just like what happened. Like theoretically, I could go home and write a short 25,000 word book called Canada 2.0. And it would be set in the near future, and I would extrapolate the trends I see, and I would refer to the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization and Bill Gates and Justin Trudeau and Joe Biden and George Soros, and I would refer to these things, and I would say, okay, what happens if we extend these trends? I would refer to the request for information to build quarantine detention facilities in Canada. I would refer to things that are factually true, and then I would brainstorm or hypothesize or game out the scenarios. That would be a hell of a book. Maybe I should, Justin, you think I should write a book like that?
As long as you get it out before 6 months from now.
Yeah, that's right. It's exactly right. Justin says, as long as I get it out before 6 months from now. I always talk tough about books. Then when I'm writing them, it's the absolute worst thing in the world. The missus always says, Why are you doing this? You always say, stop me. It's true. When I'm writing a book, I say to everyone around me, do you see how miserable I am? Next time I say I'm going to write a book, you must stop me. And no one ever does. I think I could bang out a 25,000 word book on this vein. I'm not going to call it fan fiction, but that's what I mean. It's sort of like a semi-historical novel, you know, where it's truthy. That would be a hell of a book. Yeah, Justin says he's for it, but I just told him to tell me not to do it. It's you know what? You start writing, you do a table of contents, you get all excited, you write 1,000 words, you write 2,000 words, and then something more fun comes along. And then a week passes, and a month passes, and 6 months passes, and then you start just to hate yourself for, I mean, talk about procrastination. I watched a funny TED Talk on procrastination. It's a very old TED Talk. It's had tens of millions of views, very popular. It's on procrastination. Maybe you've seen it. And the guy says, you know, the distraction monkey, clang, 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 and the only thing that kills the distraction monkey is the panic monster, which comes in like a day before your essay is due, or a day before that big event. The panic monster comes in and kills the the distraction monkey, and then you get your work done. But a very thoughtful point in that little TED Talk, I watched it just the other day, was there is no panic monster when you don't have a deadline. I mean, I remember in school I would usually start my essays the morning they were due, not even the night before, because the panic monster finally had the strength to scare me the morning it was due. But what if it's a book? What if it's something that there's no deadline? It's just, yeah, that would be nice. That's the terrible thing about writing a book. You'll never get it done if you're a procrastinator. So in answer to your question, CP, of course the fake liberal memo, and I debunk it twice, 3 times, of course it has little grains of truth in it. That's what makes it so tantalizing. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. Let's see if we can come up with a better title than Canada 2.0. Okay, he's telling me not to do it. Muzzle flash, $5. 4 babies died from South Australia because they couldn't get into Melbourne for urgent specialist care. Daniel Andrews refuses to apologize. You know what? Okay, let's grab it. Let's take a look at this. Justin says he's got that article I referred to half an hour ago. Let's just take a look. See, toxic lockdown. This is on the BBC, right? Is that the page we're looking at here? Yeah. So BBC, state broadcast UK. Toxic lockdown sees huge rise in babies harmed or killed. What a terrible story. I don't even want to read this. There was an alarming 20% rise in babies being killed or harmed during the first lockdown, Ofsted's Chief Inspector Amanda Spielman has revealed. Babies deliberately harmed. Oh, I hate to see that. Toxic mix of isolation, poverty, and mental illness. Oh, I don't even want to read that. But of course it is. Okay, yeah, let's move on. There's nothing worse than that. Jane Brave, $5. We love you, Ezra. Well, thanks very much, Jane. Appreciate that. Desley Mendoza, $10. Biden's senior campaign advisor, Anita Dunn, stated that Mao is one of her favorite political philosophers. They want America to be a successful socialist country like China. Well, see, that's the thing. That seems to be on the march in some parts of America. I think that's why Miami-Dade, which has a lot of people from Cuba and Venezuela, moved towards Trump. But I don't think the socialists won the day. Can you go to the New York Times results page, if it's still accessible like it was the night of? I want to see, what's the count on Congress? Did the Republicans pick up like 5 seats? Do we know the stats on that? Because that's remarkable to me, is the Senate, I mean, I was traveling yesterday, so I'm guessing the Senate is Republicans down 1, is that right? Maybe down 2? Yeah, Arizona flipped, and then there was, okay, so in the House, the Republicans are plus, does that say plus 6? Yeah, so they flipped 8, but they lost 2. So you can see they won 1 in Minnesota. You can see they won 1 in New Mexico. That's the dark diagonal there. So, and if you look at Iowa, and then look down in Miami, scroll down a little bit in Miami. You see right at the tip there? So isn't that amazing? A freedom-oriented Latino candidate beat the incumbent Democrat. That's what happens when you talk about socialism. Cubanos and Venezolanos say no gracias, no más. Is that Spanish? Was I doing a little bit of Spanish there? Gracias. Hermano. Do you say hermano? I can't. I'm just going from Arrested Development. You don't say it. All right, me neither. I shouldn't mess around. Ray W. 5 pounds. Scary thought Biden might have his finger on the nuclear button. Oh, I think they're going to keep Biden at home. I think they're going to set up in Biden's basement a replica Oval Office, just so he can pretend, just so he won't know any different. He'll just be in the Oval Office and he'll give a speech, and they'll send in people and he'll shake hands, and it'll probably be the same. It'll probably be like junior campaign staff, and one day they'll dress up in the ethnic garment of this country, and one day they'll dress up in the ethnic garb of that country, and they'll pretend to be the ambassador or the president, and they're going to keep Biden in the basement, and he will live a simulation-style life as president, so he'll be happy, and he'll give speeches, and there'll be just like staff clapping, and then running the place. I don't even think it's going to be Kamala Harris. It'll be her plus the operators behind it. And I don't think Biden's going to actually be trusted to do anything. I'm going to be curious who the hidden hand will be. Fraser McBurney, $5. Hamilton this Sunday, November 8th. Join us at our Freedom Rally, Hamilton City Hall, 12 noon. Hugs over mass. Let's take our freedom back and the lockdown. Thank you, Fraser. Libby T, $5. John Tory now wants people to wear masks between bites of food at restaurants when they reopen. I just watched David Menzies' video on that where we have the clip. It's quite something. That is super dumb. Deleuze Music, $5. On September 17th, 1787, a woman asked Benjamin Franklin, "What kind of government have you given us?" He replied, "A republic if you can keep it." Oh, don't make me sad. Why are you trying to make me sad? C182 OPR, $10. Electoral College tie. Congress elects Biden president and Senate elects Pence VP. Biden dies in office, 25th Amendment invoked or impeached, Pence becomes president. Okay, so you're really going through the math there. I thought I heard that the congressional vote gives each state delegation one vote. That's what Joel Pollack said. Now I'm relying on Joel. He's smart, he's a lawyer, and he's a former candidate. I'm going with Joel. So it's not California gets 55 votes and Wyoming gets 3. It's California gets 1, Wyoming gets 1. So there are more red states than blue states. They're just new, population-wise, they're smaller. So what I heard Joel Pollack say to me the other day on the show, I have a nightly show at 8 p.m., was if it goes to the Congress, Trump wins. Put that in your shisha pipe and smoke it. M. Mini, $2. What would we do without Rebel News? Thank you, Ezra. Well, thank you for the support. And, yesterday I was in Vancouver. Met a lot of great supporters out there. I saw Drea Humphrey, our super duper West Coaster, and Sheila Gunn Reid was out there too. And just a great night. And it's nice to feel the support from the grassroots. Thank you. 123K4S5C432 gives $25. Helping spread the truth. Awesome job, Ezra. Thank you. Desley Mendoza, $10. Thanks, Rebel News, for doing the real work of journalism. It's greatly appreciated. I want to tell you something Rex Murphy said last night. He spoke to this event I was at via Zoom. And he said, look, as the Canadian media becomes more and more fused to the government, taking handouts, taking direction, being regulated, it becomes more to resemble the government, and thus it needs an official opposition. The media needs an official opposition. Isn't that interesting? That's what Rex said. And he suggested Rebel News may just be that opposition. And I think he's right. Jew, $14. My Toronto schools mocking medical exemptions using the classroom doors, putting things such as "I can't breathe" in fascist lockdown sarcastically. I emailed it to Rebel with pics. I did see those pictures. Thank you. Yeah, I have at least once a week I get an email from someone saying, my doctor refuses to sign an exemption even though I have a genuine medical reason because he doesn't want to, the doctor's afraid of being marginalized and complaints. I remember before Trudeau legalized marijuana, there were doctors in really every city that would just, you come in, they'll just sign medical marijuana, like just stamp it, rubber stamp it, sure. They were pro-pot doctors who would sign for anyone, and they didn't care, that was their activism. It seems like it's the opposite with masks. They won't sign for anyone. Jane Bray, $5. Woman gets her contact trace certificates and tells all. YouTube, Vladislav Soboly. Woman gets her contact trace certificate and tells all. Oh, sounds, if I understand what you're saying, she's looking through what data is being harvested on her. I think that's what you mean. WM, 50 smackers, thank you. Did Nancy telegraph Dem election meddling by recently offering to bail Dem states trillions in federal bailout, thus transferring that debt to Republican states, to offering the U.S. Postal Service billions to help them they get if Biden wins, or am I wrong? I haven't followed that minutiae, I'm sorry. David Anderson, $2. Never saw that tweet to Nat Perry. Did anybody? Huh! Well, I think a number of people did, because I saw it was liked and retweeted thousands of times. Fraser McBurney, $5. Why are governments passing laws so they can't be sued? Is it because they know that the China flu is a hoax? Buy a poppy, not a mask. Great show, Ezra. Well, that's the thing, is simply passing a law saying you can't sue us. The courts may say that that is unconstitutional. I'm not going to go through the Charter of Rights right now, but due process, the right to certain things, and the right not to be deprived thereof, except in the principles of fundamental justice. So the government can't just say, ta-da, we're banning everything, and you can't sue us. So I don't know the constitutionality of laws like that. Machiavel sucks to go, $2. This is beyond fraud. This is cartoon level. It's terrible. Nick asks, $5. Look at New York election results. New York is red, and they called the race a 66% a blue win. That's absurd. We turned New York red, and they're hiding it. No, you didn't. New York is overwhelmingly blue. Derek G, $5. I like the Latinos for Trump's song, don't get me wrong, but have they made a rap song to appeal to black voters? Yes, of course. Half of our talents' Instagram pages, like I think Efron, a lot of his Instagram songs are that Trump rap. I don't even know who sings it. It's not Lil Pump, is it? Can you go on YouTube and just Trump rap? It's a good, it's not like a, it doesn't sound like it was engineered by some white campaign staffer in, Falls Church, Virginia. It sounds like a real, it would be really new. It would be Trump was mentioned in dozens of rap songs over the years. Why not? His audacity, his bling, his money, his personality, his beautiful wives and girlfriends. Of course he was named it. Let's listen to that one. That's probably not it, but let's take a listen.
Who would you be for, Obama? What did he do? I'll wait. You tell me one thing he did.
Is there a viz to accompany?
If you try to silence us, we make mega noise. We ain't got no time for the beta boys. Say it with a mega voice. Yeah, I'm a mega boy, stomping in the mega hat. Try and take my gun, believe me, I'ma take it back. I know some blacks, but Trump, you could call him mega black. Culture vulture on the mega track. I'ma pay him back, ayy.
That's not the one I had in mind, but that's not bad. I think Efron plays a clip of it on his Instagram. It's okay. I'll keep going. Agent Anderson, $5. I thought Biden was a ploy and the Dems were really playing for 2024. Now maybe it's the conservatives that would be better off to just play for 24. Well, don't give up. Al Gore fought in 2000 for a month. Why should Trump not fight as long? Victor Cervantes, $10. Thank goodness the Senate stayed with Republicans. Yes, you're so right. Derek G, $2. What are the odds of Trump keeping the presidency? Well, let's go to Ladbrokes. Do you want to do that? Can you go to Ladbrokes? That's one of these British bookies. There's an American bookmaker. I don't even, Bovada or something. I can't even remember. I know the Ladbrokes because I follow them on Twitter because they just give odds for every amazing political race there is. So if you can find the Ladbrokes politics, I'd be curious what they say now. Derek G, $2 for the odds. Oh, I just read that one. Jew Wee, 279. How breathable are rebel masks? I have asthma. I just don't know how breathable they are. Okay, so can you pump up the 11-1 for Trump? Joe's 1-33. So they're giving Trump, I mean, you can see it 11-1. That's another way of saying, what, a 9% chance? Is that what that means? For every dollar you put in, you get 11. So they're basically saying it's such a long shot. It's not 0, but it's 11-1. So the top one means for every $33 you put in, you get another $1 back. Is that what that means? Yeah. So if you're betting on Joe Biden, if you're betting $33, it's such a low risk that you'll only get 34 back. Whereas if you put $1 in for Trump now, it's such a high risk you'll get 11 back, so you'll get 12. I think that's what those odds mean. Thank you. So it's not 0, but it's pretty low. CP $5, the author of this fake memo was released. Why not follow up? I have it. Well, if you have it, why don't you put it on the screen here? You have it. How am I going to contact you, CP? Why don't you just put it there? Who is it? The author of this fake memo was written. Why no follow-up? From whom? From me? Because I don't know who the author is. Why don't you put it there? That's a strange tweet. Tell me who it is, and I'll Google it. Wolfcat Wildcat, $15. You listening to the world Canadian media declaring Biden with a huge lead in these undecided states, and Trump is challenging it with no proof. Are you kidding me? There are so many videos and photos and personal testimonies of sheer fraud, and just adding 23,000 votes exactly, of which 23,000 exactly are for Biden. I mean, if you think that's real, then you probably think that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. Dan Brannigan, $5. Thank you, Dan. Kaylee Smith, $10. Hi, Ezra. Biden's campaign manager, Jen O. Malarkey Dillon, also worked for Trudeau's election campaign. She needs to be investigated. That's interesting and completely unsurprising. The Democrats, in the off season, come up here to run Trudeau's campaign, and the media loves it. Whereas anyone who has on the conservative side, who has any link to America or the Republicans, is called a disloyal Canadian. Luke Viano, $5. Canada 2.0 should be a graphic novel to help bring home the point. That is a great idea. Plus, that means a lot less writing. I love that idea. And I know just the artist. You know, we had the same artist do the cover for China Virus as the LeBron. You want to show those on the screen? Just go to Amazon. You can see them both together side by side, right? If you go to any of my books, you'll see the others next to it. I love the idea of a graphic novel. Because instead of writing 25,000 words, which I hate to do. Yeah, so you see that and you see that? Same guy. Don't tell me a graphic novel by him wouldn't be amazing. Am I right, Justin? That would be amazing. How many pages is a graphic novel? 48? I mean, I've read Mouse, M-A-U-S. Go click on Mouse. Show people what Mouse is on Amazon. It's actually a terrifying and unusual cartoon about the Holocaust. Click on that. Yeah, just to show it. So you can see the mouse is the Nazis the cat is the Nazis and the mice are the Jews. It's a hell of a book. It's a hell of a book. That's 25 years ago now. Billy McDonald, $5. Remember Say ceremony in Ottawa have for the most part been canceled, and they are actively discouraging people going downtown for November 11th. A disgrace. You're exactly right. It's a disgrace. Justin Trudeau personally attended on Parliament Hill and took a knee when Black Lives Matter was there. When the pandemic was still on high alert, Justin Trudeau personally went to Parliament Hill to virtue signal, taking a knee in a big crowd, and yet he is commanding people not to attend November 11th ceremonies. It tells you everything you need to know about Justin Trudeau. Dr. 5, $10. Very curious what's happening down in the U.S. It does make me wonder about the division of power in our own country and the powers of our federal versus provincial government as to who oversteps more. Well, you know what? At least in the United States, you have a conservative leader, Trump, who's fighting like hell. Can you please tell me the last conservative leader, federally or provincially in this country, who fights back like hell? Can you tell me him? M, $2, hashtag boycott Whole Foods. Can you go to protectourpoppies.com? Glad you mentioned that, it's 1 o'clock. Protectourpoppies.com. Poppies banned under Whole Foods employee dress code. U.S.-based healthy grocery chain Whole Foods is under fire for a directive giving their employees to not wear poppies during the Remembrance Day period. Less than a week before the Remembrance Day holiday, honoring the veterans who sacrificed their lives in the service of Canada, Whole Food employees are being told they cannot wear a poppy pin, the traditional symbol of remembrance distributed by the Royal Canadian Legion. According to the store, blah, blah, blah. So where's the petition? Okay, can you go to protectourpoppies.com? Is that what popped up when you typed in those words?
No, that's my first time I found that story.
Oh, okay, go to protectourpoppies.com. Let's see what comes up there. Yeah, there we go. We just put this up. We only have 264 signatures. That's not a lot. Show your support for the Canadians who fought and died for our freedoms. Sign our petition demanding the Whole Foods permit its employees to wear a Remembrance Day poppy. Amazon-owned Whole Foods has banned its employees from wearing Remembrance Day poppies, claiming they are unacceptable political statements. That's an atrocious smear of our war debt, and it's especially unacceptable coming from a subsidiary of Amazon, a pro-China corporation. Poppies are about remembering those who bravely served and died for our country. It's about valuing their sacrifice and the freedoms we enjoy because of their sacrifice, including our freedom of political expression. If you agree that U.S.-owned, China-loving Whole Foods should stop punishing its employees who want to wear a poppy, please sign our petition. And the petition is at protectourpoppies.com. We just put this up in the last few minutes. We have 264 signatures. We need some more signatures. Hey, everybody, can you go to protectourpoppies.com? We've got to get this to 5,000. Right now, as we speak, David is doing a news story on this. I don't want to tell you what he's up to, but it'll be good. Barry Luss, $5. Thanks, Barry. Lorraine Ramesbottom, $5. Thank you. I agree. Boycott Whole Foods. Yeah, wholesale foods. Mark Cougar, $5. A nurse who spoke at the Freedom Rally last Saturday at Dundas Square was fired yesterday because of her social media post. Disgusting. I didn't know that. Can you send me an email about that, Ezra@rebelnews.com? I want to look into that. Fired for social media posts. Love DT from China, $5.49. Man in the Wilderness, $5. I want to write the book. I want to write the book. Dan Brannigan, $5. Your take on Métis Federation trashing you yesterday. I missed it. Do you know what he's talking about? Is that what he's talking about? Manitoba Métis Federation President David Chartrand set the record straight after right-wing media outlet Rebel Media published a story that attempted to link the Federation's isolation camp to being an internment camp. Okay, well, that's probably what they're referring to. All right, I'll take a look at that. I haven't seen that. I'm curious. I look forward to what they have to say. We're right-wing, everybody. Kane Mark, $2. This is a shout-out to Justin and Keenan. I said Kean, but I think he probably answers to Keenan as well. And Keanu? Ezra is an unusual name. Kean, I've never heard of it before. This is, pardon me? Oh, the guitar, that's right. That's the shout out for Justin. MK Ultra, $5. Sleepy Joe is the way to go. I believe everything media tells me. Dems, media, and big tech would never lie to me. They will take care of us. Just kidding. Man in the Wilderness, $5. Cat Dubs, $5. I watch your show every day for my dose of reality. Thank you, Rebel Team. Keep it up. Thanks, Cat. CP, $5. Denise Mauk, Executive Assistant to Federal Liberal candidate Mike Bossio. All right. Well, thank you for that. I don't know why you didn't say so before. So I'm Googling Denise Mauk, and I do indeed see that she is on LinkedIn. it appears, although LinkedIn, you can, anyone can make a LinkedIn. Is it true that she's a member of the Campaign Planning Advisory Committee executive assistant? Could be. But I'm not going to poke around now. I'm skeptical, but I will look into it. Thank you for answering my question. Roman Good, $5 InfoWars confirmed last night that the sting operation of watermark ballots is true. Secure voting system, patent registration. All right. Well, listen, yesterday I was in transit from 7 a.m. until 7:30 a.m. this morning. I had 24 and a half hours of travel. So I really was out of the loop, and I feel like I've missed a lot, especially on this watermarking thing. So I'll catch up. Roman Good, $5 InfoWars confirmed last night. Okay, I just read that. Wolfcat, Wildcat, $5. No, I don't. It's unbelievable they are on the same side worldwide, is what I mean. Okay. Jewy, 279, I'm glad they take the PPC over the Conservatives. Well, look, I like Maxime, but what did he get in the last election, the by-election, like 5%? Something like that. Rick D, $5, must watch, understanding the political scenario of India, Canada, Japan, China, USA, France, etc. explains the current scenario. Thanks. Well, that's the thing. It's not just America that turns on the election. So much in Canada does, so much in Europe, so much in China, Taiwan, Japan, Thailand, the Philippines, North Korea, Iran, Israel, Bahrain, UAE, Sudan, Libya, Turkey. So much turns on this election. And everyone knows Joe Biden's for sale. It's a market out there. Highest bidder, and of course China has all the dough. Well, my friends, it's 1:07. I think I've caught up on all the super chats. I've got to go do some other stuff. It's a pleasure being with you. I'll see you on Monday. If you want to, you can tune in tonight at my 8 p.m. show. You have to subscribe to that. I like to think it's worth it. Just go to rebelnews.com and click subscribe. It's $8 a month or $80 for the whole year. It's cheaper than Netflix. Until next time, on behalf of all of us here, do you have a dog video? I'm going to wrap up now. And I'm going to leave you with a dog video curated by Justin. Goodbye, everybody.